Welcome to this episode. This is an episode on advertising, and we are going to discuss about advertising media vehicles and the effectiveness of using different media vehicles with respect to the marketing objectives of the organization. Now, you might recall that in one of our earlier episodes, we had discussed about a very important subject, that is how to measure the effectiveness of any advertising.
Yes, sir.
We had gone into details of why it is such an important subject, what is the importance of measuring the effectiveness of ad campaigns, and we had also looked into what are the reasons why many companies are not in favor of measuring advertising effectiveness. Okay. Thereafter, we had taken up a discussion on if you believe in testing, then what is it that you are going to test?
Test.
And there are different aspects which are involved, different variables which are involved, which we had gone into a little bit of details on. Okay. Now, in this episode in particular, let us turn our attention to where are we going to carry out this kind of a testing. If we want to test the performance of an ad, where are we going to do it? Thereafter, we'll look into when are we going to do the testing. Okay. So these are also very important issues, as we will discover as we go along. Like, can you think of as to when I ask the question, where should we test an ad? What is your answer to this?
So laboratory tests are conducted where people are brought into an auditorium.
Correct.
And an ad layout, semi-finished or a finished ad is presented to the group of people.
Absolutely.
Then their opinion, interest and feelings are sought.
Excellent. So she's absolutely right in pointing out that one of the places where we can carry out a testing of an ad is a laboratory of some sorts. It's not a laboratory as we see in schools and colleges, but then it's a laboratory, like, for example, it's an auditorium where you invite some participants who are drawn from your target audience, who are likely to see the ad when it comes into play in the media. Then they are asked to assemble in that auditorium, and they are shown, let's say, actual physical layouts of the ad which you have developed. There can be alternative layouts which are exposed to the audience which has assembled, and it might well be, as she is saying, a finished ad or a semi-finished ad, or just a concept or a campaign that you are just about to launch. It can be at different stages of the ad, okay, in the development process of the ad. And you could take into confidence the reactions and the attitudes and the feelings and the opinions of the target audience while developing the ad itself, or even after the ad has been developed and you're showing them a finished piece of advertisement. So laboratory setups have to be used in order to measure, because we are talking about measurement, and you therefore need some sort of a mechanism by which you are able to control things, you are able to measure things. So laboratories like these offer you an avenue for testing out ads. Now, Shani, having said this, can you think of what is the chief advantage of going into a laboratory method of testing an ad?
Yes, sir. Firstly, these help. It actually affords control on part of the advertising agency.
Correct.
Where you can measure these ads, because you can use instruments and technology like camera
Absolutely.
and recording instruments through which
That's
you
right.
can control it.
Absolutely. Yes, the chief advantage or the chief attraction for a lab test for an ad is the control that it affords to the researcher or the ad agency. See, the point is, when you're doing a testing, there are certain things which you need to control if you want to measure something, as is commonly understood. Now, in a laboratory setup like this, there are many gadgets and instruments which are available at the disposal of the one who is trying to measure the different aspects of the effectiveness of the campaign. These are available. Like, for example, there are very specialized cameras available which can go into details of the viewership of the audience present in the auditorium. Or there could be other instruments which use technology and which help you measure different aspects of consumers' reactions or the audience reaction to the ad, different aspects of the ad. Now, these afford you a lot of control over the whole exercise, and you are very easily and readily able to measure things and take measurements from there. Okay. Now, what could, Shani, therefore be a possible disadvantage of a situation like this?
So laboratory tests is conducted in a simulated environment.
Exactly.
So it robs the ad of its realism.
Okay, excellent.
Then there can be a testing biasness to it.
There is a testing bias to it. As it were, there's a testing bias because people understand that their behavior is under scrutiny. Okay, so it robs them, as Shani is saying, of what is called realism in the ad itself. Because if you were going to allow the same audience to enjoy viewership of the ad sitting at the comfort of his home, in the surroundings of his familiar surroundings at his home, that's very different from what he is exposed to in a situation like this. Although it's going, I mean, they are willingly participating, but then it's not a natural environment. It is, as she correctly said, is a simulation of an environment, and thereby it's very different from the natural environment. So whatever it measures, if at all it measures anything, is really going to be of some questionable value. Is it really measuring what it intends to measure, and how far the measurements are reliable, or how far are they suspect? That is a big question, because realism is something that's not available in a laboratory test. Now fine, Anandita, can you tell us if there's any other avenue where we can test out ads?
Yes, so field tests could be conducted
Okay.
Including all the natural viewing
Correct.
circumstances are present, and it is also complete with all variables, that is repetitions, then the presence of other competitors,
Right.
and the program
Fine.
content. Let's
Fine.
see.
As Anandita is saying, and she's quite correct in saying this, it is just the opposite of what Shani was saying.
Yes, sir.
We want to show a target audience the ad that we have made, or some semi-finished version of it, in his natural setting, not in a setting that is a simulation. Okay. But then how do we do it? That's a different question, and the difficult question to answer. One thing is easy to understand. We want to run the ad or the semi-finished ad in a manner where we want to present the viewer a natural environment. Like when he's watching a commercial, let's say he's watching a program on television at home, there are his own family members present around him. Okay, there could even be pets and other distractions present in the home of the respondent or the viewer. And there could be other distractions where you have noise or other distractions other than noise, which could catch his attention from time to time. These are the noise that is there present in a communication, in a natural communication. Now in a simulated environment, you are doing away with the noise factor, but then that noise factor is very much a part of the communication process. You want to bring that into the communication process and thereby measure the outcome. Okay, only then is going to make it more real.
Yeah.
Rather than in a synthetic measurement where you're robbing the entire process of communication of a very vital component, that is the noise. So fine, Anandita, you've done a good job. Tell me, what is the major disadvantage of this? I think it's a lot of advantage here.
Yeah. So one of the major disadvantages is the time involved and the money involved, the
Yeah, of course.
cost
Yeah.
and the time factor.
Correct. Absolutely.
And so another disadvantage is the competitors, they will be aware of the ideas and the strategies.
Yeah.
So in that way,
Fine.
it is
So you're leaking things to the competition.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot be testing something in the field and competition does not come to know about it. That's seldom going to happen.
Yes.
So the moment you embark on a field testing, you're letting out things, into the competitive environment, and you are willing to take the risk that competition might initiate certain actions on their part, trying to preempt your every move, including advertising. Okay, and I'll add to what you said. It also does not afford you the kind of control that a lab method does.
Yeah.
Whatever the advantages were for the laboratory method are the disadvantages here, and vice versa. Fine. So I think we have done a discussion on where to test. Now let's turn our attention to yet another important dimension, that is when to test and how to test. Okay. Now the answer to this question of when to test is rather easily available in the sense that advertising testing normally happens in two ways. One is pre-testing, where the ad is shown to a subsection of the target audience, even before it's gone onto the media, before it's being played on the media. And the other test, of course, is the post-testing, where the ad has actually been released and is running in the media. People are seeing or reading the ad. Okay, they are exposed to the ad, and thereafter you don't give up the idea of testing. You still want to know, is it doing what I wanted it to do? Is it creating awareness? Is it building a change in attitude? Is it creating an emotional attachment with the brand? So pre-testing and post-testing are two major subdivisions, and we take up for a discussion the pre-testing part of it before we talk about post-testing. Now fine, let's now look at, in fact let's ask Amit about it. Amit, how do you go about carrying out can you throw some light on this? How can we carry out pre-testing of ads?
So pre-testing can be done by using various methods. Like
Okay.
We can use the mall intercept interviews.
Okay, fine. Let's take one by one. He has referred to the mall intercept interview. What is a mall intercept interview? Very simply, you wait in front of a mall, shopping mall, let's say, shopping complex, and there are people walking into and walking out of, the mall, and you intercept them. That's why it's called a mall intercept interview. And you administer a short questionnaire, or you take their opinions. You maybe show them a copy of the concept that you have in mind, and ask them to react to that. So that is simply a mall intercept interview as a method, trying to test people's reactions to, let's say, a concept or a top line or a headline or a bottom line or a copy for a brand. It can be done with the help of a mall intercept interview. What else can we do, Amit?
So mall intercept interview is also done through internet also.
Yes, it can also be done with the help of the internet. Yeah, because of the growing popularity of the internet, you can use, in fact, that is another chapter by itself, how you can use the internet in trying to measure effectiveness of ads at different stages, including in the pre-testing stage. Yeah, absolutely. Fine. Any other method that you could possibly use?
So short questionnaires can also be used.
Short questionnaires can be used. You could reach out to people at their places of work or in home, and get them to fill up a short questionnaire, asking their reactions, soliciting their feelings about the concept or the brand positioning statement. So it can be done that way. Any other method that comes to your mind?
So focus groups.
Absolutely. Focus groups are a very important way of carrying out concept testing or pre-testing. Do you know what a focus group is, or how a focus group is conducted? Fine, Shiny, can you tell us a little bit about what is a focus group?
Like organizations, they invite 8 to 10 people,
Yeah.
and they introduce a rough sketch to them, and in order to record their opinions, feelings, and reactions to the sketch of the ad. And it's a two-way free discussion where people, after discussing the ad, they come up with a new idea, a new concept.
Okay.
They give
That
their
is-
opinion
That is how.
Fine.
to the moderator.
That's right. In fact, focus group is a very common method, and is vastly used in marketing research. This is a form of research where you are trying to use marketing research for the purpose of measuring advertising effectiveness. Focus group is a very handy method, very effective method, and as Shani was saying, it is normally a group discussion. You invite some participants, willingly recruited participants from your target audience, who are going to be exposed to the particular ad that you have in mind, and you invite a free discussion among 8 to 10 such people, or maybe 12 people. Okay, they are asked to assemble in a convenient location, and they are put through a group exercise wherein, in this particular case, they'll be shown rough sketches of the ad, or alternative layouts of the ad, or alternative body copies of the ad, or you might even come up with alternative statements for positioning of the brand. Whatever you want to test out, you throw it open to that group. A common focus group lasts for about 2 hours. It deals with about 8 to 12 respondents from the target group, which is going to be exposed to the ad, and it's done in a common, convenient location, which is, and the whole thing is conducted by a moderator. Many a time, what happens is that the client who is, sponsoring the focus group is also present, but not present in the room, same room with the moderator and the participants, but then they watch it from outside, or even video recordings are done of the proceedings, and the video clips are later on looked at and analyzed in order to find out more about what people said and how they said it, in what way did they react, what was the majority opinion coming out, what is the profile of people who were trying to dominate the discussion, and what is the minority viewpoint emerging from the group. Was there a consensus emerging? So all these issues are looked into from focus group outcomes. Okay, there are a few shortcomings of a focus group. Like in a focus group, the the outcome of the group discussion is only as good as the moderator himself is. Okay, a lot depends on the moderator and how he or she is able to conduct the group proceedings, and it also depends on a subjective interpretation of the findings. Now, whatever we have discussed so far are essentially to do with the print ads. Okay. Yeah. But then print ads are by no means the only form of advertising. There are movie ads also. Okay, the video ads, and they have also got to be tested even before the actual video is shot and is ready for a testing. In-process video ads have also got to be shown to the target audience and their response is taken. Now, therein what is done is, you create mock-ups or you create storyboards, and you create what are called, animatics kind of things, which are, semi-finished or unfinished shootings. Or maybe you could show, rather than a movie, you would show still photography of the different stages of the slides, or show them by your slides, and seek people's opinion as to do you think you're seeing the right kind of environment in the ad? Do you think the person in the ad is the right kind of person to promote the ad? What do you think he is going to do next in the next slide, and so on. So you're trying to seek opinions even at the stage where you're not very sure about the final shots of the ad, what it will look like finally. Let's look at a few specialized methods now, like the rough art, the copy, or the commercial testing aspects. Now, when you talk about the print ads, there are certain very specific tests which are applicable to print ads only. Like, for example, the comprehension and the reaction tests, okay, are a special kind of a test where basically, as you can understand from the name, you're trying to measure what is the level of comprehension of the ad. How far is the target audience able to understand the meaning that the advertiser or the sponsor wants to convey through the ad? There's something else that is also important, that is the reaction. It's not merely the readability or the comprehensibility, but also the reaction. And it can be done over a large number of respondents, ranging from 50 to 200 respondents who take part in comprehension and reaction tests. And there's another method that is involved, that is called consumer juries.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Arnab, can you tell us something about what consumer juries are and what do they do? How do they help in testing of ads, pre-testing?
Consumer jury means, sir, few consumers are selected from the market.
Okay.
And they are asked to rate or rank the ads.
Okay, fine.
By showing them the ads, they're asked to provide fruitful opinion from the ad.
Right. So it's something similar to a focus group, except for the fact that here you are drawing people, and what is the number of people that need to be there on the jury will depend on the kind of responses people are, the kind of variety that's there in the target audience. But then as a jury, they are shown the ads. I mean, it's not a discussion alone. Okay, here like in a focus group where there's a discussion between the members in the group, but in the jury it's not like that. Each individual member on the consumer jury is shown the possible layout or the layouts that you are trying to test, and their opinions are sought on different aspects of the ad layouts. Okay, all the ad layouts that are on test. Okay, and these people, the consumer jury members, give their opinions individually and not collectively. Fine, Arnab, what do you think? What do you think is the problem with? Is it a good method? Is it a bad method? What is the problem?
It is
that
a
you
bad
expect?
method.
Why do you say so?
They think that they become self-appointed experts, and they try to behave as a judge and not as a consumer. So they try to impose their own biased opinion on the product.
Do you understand what is the point he's trying to bring in? Basically, what he's trying to say is that the moment a typical consumer becomes a member of a jury like this, and he's asked to critique an ad or a number of ad possibilities, what happens is that he becomes conscious of the task assigned to him, and he no longer remains a consumer. He becomes a self-appointed expert. Okay, he believes or imagines that the role given to him is to pass judgment on the ad, which is to some extent correct, but then it's not fully correct, because we also want him to look at it as a typical consumer or a typical viewer of the ad, and not as someone who is going to pass judgment on the ad alone. So the testing effect, the testing bias comes into play in a very big way, and what you get as a result is the outcome is less than objective. We have looked at certain methods. Let's look at a slightly different situation when you are testing or pre-testing a finished ad. How can we carry out pre-testing of finished ads?
Uh,
Anindita, you would like to say something?
Yes, sir, sure.
Remember, the situation is different now.
Yeah.
We're discussing pre-testing, all right, but then
Yeah.
the ad is now finished. It's no
Finished.
longer unfinished or semi-finished, as it was in the discussion till now.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So is this a print or broadcast?
fine. Anindita will tell us.
Yeah.
Are we
So-
testing print ads or broadcast ads? What are we doing?
So like
We can do both. In fact,
Yeah,
the answer
both.
is we can do it for both.
both. Yes,
Okay.
sir. So like we can do it through conducting portfolio tests.
Okay.
So like in portfolio test, what happens is the ad is ready and it is shown with other ads, mixed
Okay.
with other ads, and the respondents are asked what could they recall from the ad.
Okay.
So,
Or how much do they recall an
Yes,
ad, or what do they
they
recall
recall- yes.
from the ad?
Yes, sir.
Fine, yeah, portfolio, as you can understand from the name, they create a portfolio where there are many ads. Okay, it's not just the ad that is being tested or the ones that are being tested. There are ads which are already there in the market, and the respondent or the target audience is aware of those ads, or has seen those ads, or heard about those ads. So such ads are also present in a portfolio. So test ads are there along with other ads, which are called control ads. Okay, and the respondent is exposed to the entire portfolio. Thereafter, he or she is asked to recall the ads that he or she has seen from that portfolio. And it is assumed that the ads which have the highest scores for recall are the ones which are most effective.
Yeah.
And there is some merit in that. We tend to recall ads which grab our attention, that gel in our minds, and those are the ads that we recall more than the ones which do not seem to cut an impression with us. Okay, so that is a very common form of testing by using a portfolio. Very popular with the print ads, because you can actually have a finished ad, the actual final layout, and use that within the portfolio. What other tests would you like to carry out with the finished ads?
So the readability test is another
Okay.
way of testing
Yeah.
a finished ad,
Right.
where the number of syllables used in the
Per
print
line.
ad
Yeah.
per line, or the font size of
Yeah.
the matter
Okay.
is checked
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
So the usage of words, whether the simple words are used or very complicated.
Right, because it's communication, and you need to do away with ambiguity. Okay, you have to have words which are going to connote whatever you want to say in the right manner. Okay, you don't want to use words which are going to have different meanings in different contexts, and you don't want to have very complicated, difficult to pronounce words, difficult to read words. Rather, you would like to have simple words in the copy of the ad. And how far the ad offers readability? Are respondents or the viewers comfortable reading out those ads and understanding them? And that is an important measure, especially in print, because people have to take the meaning by reading, and if it's not allowing high readability, then it's perhaps not a good ad, and it does call for a change in that case. So the vocabulary used, the complication of the sentences, and the number of syllables used, all these add to the readability aspect of the ad, and these are also measured, and they are normally done with the finished ad. Okay, fine. There's yet another thing. Is there any other thing that you're aware of while pre-testing finished ads?
Yes, sir. So pre-testing on finished ads can also be done by the use of dummy advertisement vehicles.
Okay, fine. Can you elaborate?
Sir, in this method, the ads are placed in dummy magazines
Okay.
developed by an agency. These
Okay.
magazines contain regular editorial features
Okay.
and other ads or many other features.
Okay.
And in this between the ads,
Fine.
the ads to be tested are placed in between.
Correct.
And it provides a very natural environment for
Correct.
the readers, and the results can be analyzed later on.
Fantastic. Have you got the sense of what he's saying?
Yes, sir.
Basically, what is happening is that let's say the advertising agency or the client who is sponsoring the testing comes out with a dummy magazine. Okay, a magazine that is not in circulation, or a magazine that might not remain in circulation, but then a magazine that has been published for the purpose of measuring something, and that is to do with the ads. Okay, in such a magazine which has all the regular features of any regular magazine, like there would be editorial content, there will be features, and there will be ads along with those. It's not just ads, okay, and it's not just editorial. So it has got all the features that are there in a regular magazine. Along with that, there are test ads inserted into such a magazine, and such dummy magazines, as they are called, are circulated in a very limited scale among a random sample of carefully chosen respondents who belong to the target audience, who have such media habits as are advisable for that kind of a company or that kind of a product that the company is going to advertise on. And once that kind of a magazine is available to the reader at his home, he is going to read that. He's asked to read that. In fact, he is invited to read the magazine, the programs, and not the programs, the editorial content or the other features that are there in the magazine, as well as see the ads. And later on, their opinions are asked, maybe with the help of an interview on telephone or maybe a direct personal interview. What we tend to ask is how they have reacted to the editorial content, how they have reacted to the ads, do they recall the ads, what was the readership, how much of the magazine they have read, and what are the areas of the magazine that have generated more interest in the mind of the reader. These are the things that are assessed, along with test measures for the ads which are inserted, the test ads. Okay. Now, as you can imagine, this offers very many advantages. Like, for example, the biggest advantage of the reader is getting the magazine in his home and is reading it in the comfort of his familiar surroundings at home. He's not put through a artificial situation, and then he's reacting to the ads as well as to other things which are surrounding the ad by way of editorial contents and things like that. Okay. Now, so what you get as measures of reaction that is given by the target audience or target readers, are very close to real measures. Okay. Although we really cannot get away from the fact that it is testing, and there are some effects of testing which are still remnant in the system. You are unable to get rid of the complete testing bias. It is there to some extent, to a large extent is there, although, but then it is also giving you measures which are close to very realistic measures had you been able to measure them in the actual situation. So these are some of the methods that we have discussed, and what is going to happen is we are going to discuss about many other methods which are to do with the testing of ads which are broadcast ads and not print ads. Okay, what are methods to be employed for measuring the effectiveness of such ads? But then we'll come back on yet another day and on another episode, and we'll discuss those issues in more detail. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.